Where are you coming from today, my
I'm
friend?
in Los Angeles. My granddaughter had her 6th birthday party yesterday.
Fantastic. And
Right.
the was there cake? Was there
It was
what was
cake,
yeah.
and there was kids. There were a lot
Yep.
of kids, and a lot of my 6-year-old granddaughter and my 9-year-old grandson go to school at the same
Yeah,
school. And they had a lot of brothers and sisters and friends, a lot of kids.
sure.
They have a pool here. There are kids in the pool. There are adults relaxing because their kids are having fun and
Of
they didn't
course.
have to do anything.
Do
Yeah.
you do typical grandpa duty? Are you manning the grill? Are you just sitting around kvelling? What's the
I
experience
was
like
doing
for you?
quelling.
Yeah,
I was mainly quelling. There was no grill to they had pizza.
it's
What can I say?
fantastic. All
They
right.
had pizza and they had cake and some popcorn. So pretty simple stuff. It wasn't, but the cake was great. Yeah.
Am I correct? Is that a Franklin Barbecue Pits T-shirt that you're
It
wearing,
is.
which is about the most awesome food flex that you could wear on an interview like this? Because it's not just Franklin Barbecue; it's the actual pits that he's making and selling, which are unreal.
Yes. I have a friend, John Marcus, who is uh, produced Pitmasters
Mm-hmm.
and is going to be inducted into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. And he's a friend of Aaron's. And I think he uses his pit.
It's an incredible machine. But have you spent time in Austin and had a chance to go to
Yes.
Franklin Barbecue?
Well, I had a chance to get the food from it.
Okay.
I did a show there, and afterwards I had a party that they catered.
And your
It was
feelings about
amazing.
it's amazing.
The brisket is the best brisket I've ever had. Everything was
Yeah.
great, but I had, yeah, no.
Yeah, the sleeper there for me is his barbecue turkey, which I never order anywhere because I'm like, it's to me, it's such a waste. It is so moist. The man is a genius. I've known him for a long time, and I worship the ground he walks on. Yeah, he is definitely in the pantheon of food gods. Aaron Franklin is definitely right up there.
Yep.
The Tell us about your shows. You are continuing to go on tour because I subscribe to your newsletter, and you are continuing to tour cities. Tell folks about that.
Well, I've been doing this. It's the only former U.S. senator currently on tour,
Mm-hmm.
and the tour is continuing the tour. And so where am I going next? I'm going to Burlington, Vermont,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm making a West Coast swing. And I'm coming to LA at the end of September. I'm going to Mesa, Arizona. I'm going all over the West Coast, going up to Portland, Oregon, down to Sacramento, over. I'm just, yeah, you can go on alfranken.com and see where I'm going.
Did you accelerate this tour as we lead up into the midterms? I know that's really important for you. We were talking on a call the other day about another matter about a congressional candidate in Kansas that I'm going to hopefully do a little fundraising and stuff
Patrick
for
Schmidt. Yeah.
Patrick Schmidt. And so I'm wondering, is the I mean, obviously people are really interested in what you want to hear. You've been popping up on CNN a lot these days. You guest hosted for Kimmel, or rather you allowed him to return to his own show recently, as I like
I
to look
think
at
I
it.
guest hosted one night.
Well,
Yeah.
still, it was a hell of
It
a
was
night.
fun. It was sure.
And now you're out on the road again with the show. Is a lot of that so that you can go to as many cities as possible? And I know this midterm election is very important to you.
It is. I mean, I wish I was going. Like, I don't think, I'm not worried about Portland, Oregon,
Yeah.
Sacramento might mean Mesa is important,
Yeah.
so there are certain places I'm hitting. LA, I'm doing the Hollywood theater in Hollywood. I'm just going to basically tell them to give money.
Yep.
I mean, they're not going to and there'll be people with the showbiz people there with money, and I'm just going to excoriate them to how important this is. An incredibly important election. Obviously, the Republican Party has ceased to be a party that cares about democracy. In fact, quite the opposite. And this is this may not be the most important election in history. That was 1860, but if
it's right up there.
Democracy is actually at stake here. They don't believe in it anymore.
Correct. If there are a lot of people here listening, and we do have some food questions for you, and I want to have some fun with that.
Not food.
You do. But there are a lot of people.
The T-shirt.
Yeah, of course. There are a lot of people out there who would love to know from you what's the most important thing that they can do in the run up to the election, besides voting themselves and talking to their friends. How do you spread the news? I live in a blue dot state. I believe Minnesota is technically a blue dot state.
But you have the state has gotten purple.
Yes.
And
yes.
You may be in a blue area, but the state, there's very impactful elections here. The Attorney General, Keith Ellison, is in a
big one
and a close race. The Secretary of State, the governor. There's House seats in the first and the eighth. I mean, but the answer to your question is door knock.
Okay.
Phone or door knock.
Phone and door knock. Volunteer.
Yeah.
Get out there and volunteer.
It's actually really interesting to do, and it's really you'd be surprised that people like to talk on the doors. Some people, and you'll meet people that'll might be a little nasty, but not that bad. But you'll be also surprised that people, it isn't as cut and dried with folks. There are a lot of good folks who are on the fence now.
Yeah. I don't want to get distracted, but the news of the last couple of weeks, especially post FBI raid and post the President Biden had a great week, 10 days ago.
January 6th hearing, I mean, I know that everyone is focused on Mar-a-Lago and the documents, which is unbelievable. But the January 6th stuff is, to me, the biggest crime of them all.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was trying to overturn our entire system. That was totally antithetical to who we are as a country, which is we have democratic elections, and then you have peaceful transitions of power. That's what our country, if anything, is about.
Yep. Awkward transition. Let's talk food.
Oh, that's a perfect transition.
What's your favorite childhood food memory?
I was thinking about that because you gave me the questions.
I did.
But so it's favorite is the odd word, because I have some very, very, very strong childhood memories of food that is hard to say which one's favorite. Okay. One of which I went to right away was I was left alone in the home. I was old enough for my parents to leave me alone. And I ended up watching a Sherlock Holmes movie. It was Basil Rathbone, Hounds of the Baskervilles. And I had a Sara Lee raspberry coffee cake. And I put it in the oven, took it out, and ate it while watching that. And it was, at that point, the high point of my life. And that Sara Lee raspberry coffee cake was amazing. And by the way, I saw something recently where people were going like, what food makes you feel like you are affluent or something? And one of them was a Sara Lee pound cake. And of course, I understood that completely. And okay, that's one. So I'm going to give you like,
yeah.
Okay. The other is when I was like 12 years old, I was visiting my cousin in Long Island, and my uncle took me to Coney Island, and I went to Nathan's and got a fried soft-shell crab sandwich. And holy mackerel, I just went, wow, wow, wow. So soft-shell crabs are one of my favorite things. And then the third thing is my dad is both my parents are really good cooks. My dad's veal marsala was something that I really I just love that.
And a tricky dish. I admire. He must be a great cook, because even to attempt that, most people don't say, "Well, I'm just going to knock out veal marsala."
No, his
Tonight.
veal marsala was I was always excited about the veal marsala, as other things that he made as well.
Yeah. Over the course of your life, you've done a lot of traveling. Do you have a favorite food city?
I'd say Italy.
That's a food country.
You're right.
Yeah.
Boy, then I'd have to say France. No, I would say it's hard to say, because a lot of my favorite thing about eating is eating with friends. And I don't really have friends in Italy. And I really don't have friends. I have a brother in France. So, but I'd say, so, I guess it would be New York or LA, where I have friends, and Minneapolis. But I guess, New York.
I think that's a great answer. I was helping you by putting a picture up of the map of the United States that you drew for me many years ago.
Wow.
That hangs in my office proudly. Do you still draw maps?
Yeah, it's like my doodle.
It's your doodle.
Yeah.
New York, I think, is the greatest food city in the world for a whole variety of reasons, but mostly because of the borough of Queens, which still has 130 immigrant groups in numbers of 5,000 or more, with continued influx of people from those countries that those cultures represent, and consequently, it's people cooking for new arrivals, and so the food is incredibly honest and incredibly delicious and very true to that place. I just assume eat in Queens, New York, as any other geographic spot in the world, but I love Italy too, and France. Those are great cities.
Yeah.
These days, where do you call home?
It's interesting, because we're both in Minneapolis and New York, and now and I'm in LA now. I'm a grandpa. I have 4 grandchildren. So like during COVID, I was in DC because I had 2 of the grandchildren who are now in LA with their parents were in DC. So we were in their bubble. We were very fortunate as and then, but we've kept our place in Minneapolis. I was just in Minneapolis for about 10 days. But we're also in New York because I have 2 grandchildren there. And so we're on the Upper West Side a lot, where my 2 grandchildren and my son and his wife are.
And those are 3 cities, by the way, that you've been familiar with your whole life, because I have to, number one, obviously the Twin Cities, obvious connection. But then you have the 2 coasts, and from that other part of your life, you must have spent a lot of time. Do you have a favorite restaurant or place to eat in any of those cities?
I have an Italian restaurant in New York, Latanzi.
Sure.
You know that place?
I do.
I love their artichokes. They have these artichokes that they're unbelievable.
Yeah. The fried ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The baby ones.
Yeah. They're extraordinary.
Yeah. And in LA, I don't know if I have a favorite place in LA now. I'm not here as much. And when I'm here, we just sort of eat here.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right. Great answer. I'm not going to push you on a Minnesota restaurant, because
you know what? Have you gone to the Kenwood?
Yes.
I love the Kenwood.
Yeah, there's great. This is an incredible food town that has become.
Really
It
is,
doesn't
but
have the depth and breadth that the bigger cities have, but place for place, I would put some of our restaurants up against, any in the country, very, very
okay,
easily.
I just love that place, and it's well, um,
You feel
yeah,
good. I feel good when I'm inside those rooms. I mean, it doesn't have
yeah.
to be a fancy restaurant. It's how I feel when I'm inside them.
It's
Uh,
like oh my God, the St. Paul place on Grand. That I get the walleye. What am I
oh
saying?
yeah, the Cafe on Grand.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, there's a great example. Is it the best food in the world? No. Is it the best anything in the world? No. But I love how I feel in there. I love getting that dish. I love getting the fountain Diet Coke. I'm not going to lie, and it's fantastic. Extra coleslaw and bring me some
I have a
extra
social
lemons.
media person who's will not when she chooses an apartment to go to, it has to be near, I think, a McDonald's so that she can get a fountain Diet Coke.
Yes, I did fountain Diet Coke day one of the state fair on purpose because I know the line is fresh and the syrup ratio is right, and it's not going to get any better than it is at that moment. And I was correct.
Now, another favorite food of mine, as you know very well,
Mm-hmm.
at the state fair is the corn.
Yeah. I was just lecturing some people on that yesterday as we made our way to the grandstand at the Saturday, as we made our way to the grandstand for the concert that night, and everyone had overeaten and hadn't saved room for the corn. I said, "You're making a huge mistake," and we wound up sharing some corn because it is extraordinary. It's
It's
simply
spectacular,
extraordinary.
and I've been going there for 60 some years, and
Yeah,
I've not had a bad ear of corn.
that's correct.
I've not had a spec not had I've not had a spectacular ear of corn.
It is
Sweet,
singular.
yes.
And I wore my corn roast hat every day there because I just
You
absolutely
remember
love
we
it.
were on the Today Show
I
together,
do. I do.
and my communications team got very mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
Al Roker was interviewing
Yep.
you, and he called me in because I was walking by
Yep.
because I had an ear of corn,
Yep.
and it was my opportunity to talk on the Today Show, which gets a high rating, and I'm senator, and I just ate the corn.
That's correct.
And I was
One of
making
the
a statement.
one of the best well, first of all, it was a lesson for all of us in the art of nonverbal communication. I thought that was the brilliance of it, and it's one of the favorite clips in my reel that I
Yeah.
have. You appear several times in my reel, which is
Oh,
which is
okay.
great. Now obviously you're spread out in lots of different places, so this could be a historical question for you. It doesn't have to be necessarily today, but what's the one item or food or drink that you panic about running low on wherever you are?
Panic. I I would say this is terrible. It's Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
Terrible.
absolutely fine. I mean, look, for some, it's like it's that one thing that has to happen. I'm sort of the same way.
Well,
I
there's
need my.
certain things that I like to have a Diet Pepsi with,
Yep. Yep.
right? I'd rather like, and that's a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
and including ribs.
Yes.
Like if I'm having barbecue,
If,
a Diet Pepsi.
mm-hmm.
But if there's a cake, like we had cake last night, and milk wasn't out, so I was at my daughter's house, and I snuck to the fridge and got
Mm-hmm.
milk, and I didn't want anyone else to see that.
As is your right as a grandpa.
Well,
Uh,
I didn't want other people going like, yeah, I want milk too. It's a chocolate
isn't it
cake.
fascinating? Yeah, I had chocolate cake last night for dinner at a party at a friend's house, and I wanted milk with my chocolate cake. Other people had coffee, and I got into an argument with them. I said, "Coffee belongs with pie, milk belongs with cake," and that's
You're
just my
exactly
personal
right.
feeling. Thank you, I appreciate that. So if I were to come to where you are tonight for dinner, and you had a magic refrigerator that had any ingredients in it, what's the dish that you're making for me for dinner or meal, or what would you cook for me?
Okay, linguine and clam sauce.
Why?
It's easy, so fucking easy to make,
and delicious,
and unbelievably delicious. So,
do you make it all the time? Is that like a thing for you?
That's one of the things I make a lot.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Here's a story about my daughter. We had it here a few nights ago. My daughter went to the French Culinary Institute in New York. She was a third grade teacher for 3 years, then went there, and then after doing the French Culinary Institute, developed a curriculum for kids to learn how to cook and learn how to use healthy ingredients, because she taught in an area where the kids their parents didn't have money and food, healthy food and etc. So she did something, but she's a great cook. And so I've been making linguine and clam sauce for a long time. And when she was a little girl, I'm talking about 3-4 years old, love linguine and clam sauce. So when she's 5, we go to Disney World. And we're staying at this hotel that has an Italian restaurant, a Disney hotel. And we get there and we open up the menus, and she sees linguine and clam sauce. And she goes, I'm getting the linguine and clam sauce. I go, honey, do not get it. Don't get it. It's going to not be daddy's linguine and clam sauce. No, I'm getting it. I go, don't. She says, I'm getting it. So she orders it. We get it. It's like cream of clam soup on linguine. And so the waiter comes over and says, is everything all right? And she goes, and she'd been in Montessori school where they learn about the properties of liquids. And so this 5-year-old from New York is in Florida at Disney. She goes, the clam sauce, it's so viscous. And
beautiful.
you see this waiter just going like, these fucking New Yorkers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. First time Noah was at Disney, he looked up at we were in a Burger and Malt, the 50s diner that's over in Hollywood Studios Park. And he looked up, we had just come from visiting Grandpa in Maine, and we go into a fancy restaurant, and there was the menu was already selected. It was a series of courses that the chef put out. So the lady comes up and goes, hey doll, what do you have? And with the pencil behind the ear, she takes out on her notepad, and of course she's an actress, and the whole thing is part of this chick. And Noah looks up like age 5 and says, do you have a tasting menu available? At which point she lost it, couldn't stay in character. Little kid, do you have do you have a tasting menu? All things Al Franken are at alfranken.com. Last thoughts about the coming election and the importance of it?
Well, it just really, oops, shoot, gosh darn it, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
Someone calling about this is Danny. It's Aykroyd, I think. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You can bring him on.
Call you back. No. I'll call you in a couple minutes. Bye. From Kingston, Ontario, so it's Aykroyd.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Say hi to him for us.
I will.
That and the shirt is a combination. That's a pretty good flex too.
Yeah.
Huh.
So what was I saying? Oh, the election. Yeah, I mean, really, like the Republican Party has destroyed truth. It's destroyed civility. It has destroyed any national unity. And it's on its way to destroying the world's oldest democracy. So this couldn't be more important.
Couldn't be. And door knock. Work the phones, door knock, old-fashioned grassroots campaigning wherever you are. Donate to the right.
It's actually fun. It's fun. And you'll be surprised how much you like people.
Yeah. It's an incredible thing. Plus, you get to know your neighbors. And I think that's really important. I don't think we know our neighbors as well as we should. my friend, thank you for doing this. Good luck.
You
Do
can
my
also
best
go to
to your
other
family.
neighborhoods too. You can also go to
Yes.
other neighborhoods.
Yes, absolutely.
They'll send you
Absolutely.
places you need to go.
But
So
so many people don't understand the importance of just getting to know your neighbors. I mean, everything, all over my neighborhood, there's a whole variety of signs. So I try to get out and do as much as I can, grow where you're planted. If you can do another day, get out, volunteer. I'm all for it. Anyway, you're the best. Thank you. Good to see you. See you next
it's
time we're
fun.
in the same city. Okay.
Okay, great.
Take it and say hi to Ackroyd for me.
I will.
Okay. Goodbye.